this terrible habit of touching the microphone. I think it's nerves, whatever. I'll try not to. And then that other grouping of poems I was talking about is kind of turning into, I'm calling it Postcards to Jack, and it's kind of, a lot of the poems address Jack Kerouac as if he was traveling with these travels. This one doesn't address him. It's kind of a prose, it looks like a prose poem, but it's not, it's really lined. But I've been writing more prose poems lately, so. This one's called Unveiled. Well, it doesn't need any explanation. I think it tells you what it's all about. Unveiled. Traveling Chicago to Seattle, at the airport gate, a glaring anachronism. A nun in traditional habit sits talking on her cell phone, scrolling down the screen of her laptop. She walks behind me as we board. She sits in the window seat next to me. Her tunic is deep blue linen. The veil, wimple, and unstarched scapula are white poplin. About her is a subtle, musty scent of underarm. In her mid-30s, soft-featured and unadorned prettiness. I notice she slips off her shoes. When not reading, she holds herself, arms crossed, hugging her torso. When reading, her free hand strokes wispy blonde hair on the wrist of her book hand, or runs a finger along the strong line of her jaw. She is reading a book entitled The Mass, but puts it aside for the airline magazine. I consider her life without touch, vestal virgin, a vocation, a calling. I fall asleep. The rosary attached to her belt fills the space between us. When I wake, she is asleep, her face turned toward the window. The sun is bright. We are above the clouds. The dark hosed toes of her left foot rest on the top of my sandaled right foot. Her dark hosed toes open and close as if barefoot on a white flocati rug. I am paralyzed, electricity running up my leg. This is another one of the travel poems, but this is in a high button form, which is a prose poem that's followed by a haiku. And I've actually been lucky enough to get a few of these accepted for High Bun Today, which is a journal of High Bun, obviously. This one is, so I'll kind of like stop a little so you can pick up where the haiku comes in it. And so this is Postcard from Seattle. Street dark, almost deserted at Pike's Place Market. I see your shadow, Kerouac, listening to a bearded grunge guitarist with two violinists in summer tank tops and long gauze skirts. Girls barefoot with black soles to their feet, hair in uncombed blonde curls and waves. They play folk rock ballads on the sidewalk in front of a closed and dark jazz cafe. The tourists all gone. Gull to piling, skateboard to boardwalk, sunset. That's how much time?
As much time as you want.
You know, sometimes you see people who are doing something that is just, you know that they should have thought first, but they don't stop. And anyway, this one's called Ballad of May October. Because they never asked the obvious question. Because when she casually rubbed lotion in his scaly knuckles, electricity surged from Kentucky to Seattle to Chicago. There was no turning back. Because when her whimsical frog tattoo jumped into his ancient pond, the splash was harmonic resonance, profound and pure as a meditation bell. Because they never asked the obvious question, there could be no turning back. Because their steps and songs and rhythms conflicted, they avoided the awkward dance floor. But alone together they danced and danced. Alone their music was infinite. Alone they were fantastic. Alone they took deep breaths. The obvious questions stared them in the face with all the watchful, suspicious eyes. Who'd expect a happy ending, a cat's cradle tangle at best? Theirs were divergent, distant decades, forbidden, ephemeral, forsaken intersection. Let's do this. This is another travel poem, but I don't know if it's part of that collection. This is called Trinket Like Water. The fountain pen is empty, not the night for poetry or postcards. Under whose bed did I leave my saxophone? Leaning against a white stone building in Florence, the rain corrals me into a shrinking dry spot. I smoke the last cigar. Between which pages of fiction did I leave my worn passport? Vacations are not the context for questions. Naples is under my fingernails, layers of Rome lingering clouds of ancient incense, temples and crosses and red wine flowing from a brass tap in the wall. You've got to drink it all. Drink it like water. The thirst, the thirst. Who's your deity, Daddy-O? Some of you